Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'd like to start by thanking the National Cleanup Production Center for affording us this opportunity as a department to come and present on some of the initiatives that we are currently undertaking to support industry in as far as waste management is concerned. So I'm going to take you through some of these initiatives. Okay, that's what I'll be presenting on. First of all, to give you an idea of where we're coming from and also our functions. And I'll also give you a background behind these initiatives that we have started as a department and the approach that we undertake in implementing some of these initiatives. Generally, it's in 4 areas through forums and trainings, a company-focused approach, and also I'll take you through some of our future plans. That is the organogram for the Chemicals and Waste Management branch. That's where I come from, me and Anben. Our Deputy Director General there is Mark Gordon, and we have 4 chief directorates under that branch. The first one is General Waste and Municipal Support. We don't have a chief director there currently. And we have the Chemicals and Waste Policy Evaluation and Monitoring, and our chief director there is Hauta Mukwena. And we have the Chemicals Management Chief Directorate. The chief director there is Obed Baloyi. And we have the Hazardous Waste Management and Licensing, and our chief director there is Michelle Govender. That's the chief directorate under which the Industry Support Subdirectorate works. So under that chief directorate, we have 3 directorates, which are the Licensing Directorate, which is headed by Bongiko Sidlamini, and we have the Land Remediation Directorate headed by Dr. Mpo Shitangone. And also, lastly, we have the Hazardous Waste Management, which is headed by Sharon Mohumosi. Okay, the Directorate Land Remediation, that's the directorate under which the industry support functions. It has 2 core functions, which are basically to manage projects addressing the remediation of contaminated land, and also to support industry on chemicals and waste management, and to build capacity in industry with particular focus on small and medium-sized enterprises. Okay, that's just the background behind why we need an industry support within the department, particularly in the Chemicals and Waste Management branch. That's the normal way in which the department normally operates. Our core function is mainly, I think many of you are aware, we develop policies and policies get implemented. And then after the policies have been developed, there is an element of monitoring. And then we have also compliance and enforcement. There had been a lot of challenges with this kind of approach where many people complained that the department officials only visit companies when there are issues of non-compliance. They felt that there is one element that is missing, and that has to do with support, that the department is not supporting industry implement some of the developed regulations in relation to waste management. And it was felt that we needed to change our approach. That's when the industry support was initiated. And if you look at that model there is support that is needed, not only in terms of providing support to industry, improve on their waste management, but we also, as a department, we need some kind of approach of support whenever we develop these policies. So what we're saying here is that support is needed in both directions. That before we come with a regulatory instrument, at the planning phase, we need to have the people that are going to implement these policy instruments to come on board and help us craft these instruments in a manner that will help them during the implementation phase. Not a case where we as a department sit down and decide and say, we're going to develop these policies, come implementation phase, and people will have challenges. So we're saying that during the planning phase, we need to bring the people that are going to implement these policies on board. That's the kind of support that I'm talking about. And then the support mechanisms that we have currently initiated, the ones that I'm talking about here, it's in four folds. We have the Industry Waste Management Forum that has been developed or established currently. One of the other ways in which we provide these supports is through training workshops, site visits, and others. I'll talk about those others. And then this is the Industry Waste Management Forum. The objectives are generally to create a conducive environment for industry to play a role in the waste management. It's a consultative forum where we come together, we invite industry representatives to come and listen to the plans that the department has in relation to regulatory frameworks that we're planning to undertake, and also to raise implementation challenges that they're having with regard to some of the already developed regulatory instruments, and also to address or to discuss challenges industries encounter with regard to implementation of the waste management strategy, and to foster collaboration among industry and all levels of government. And also it serves as a platform where people can exchange information in relation to best practice in waste management. And then I won't repeat that. It's a partnership between government and industry, like I already indicated, where we come together, people share research information to assist government. When we develop these policies, normally the best way that needs to be undertaken whenever we develop policy, there needs to be some background research that ought to have been undertaken. And we have realized that some industry players already have this kind of information. So we call them on board during the waste management forums to come and present and share with us these information that they have. And that has helped us a lot in the recently developed policy instruments. And also we use the platform, the industry forum, as a platform where we identify any training need that small and medium-sized enterprises might benefit from. So it's not only a government that goes about and assisting small and medium-sized enterprises in relation to the implementation of the Waste Act, but we have identified some key people within the industry that have been helping us in rolling out these presentations or these trainings. And then in relation to the progress that we have made in as far as the Industry Waste Management Forum is concerned, we started our engagements as early as the 31st of March 2014. It was a high-level kind of engagement where we had our Deputy Director General calling upon a meeting where industry managing directors and CEOs were part of that meeting, and generally to initiate a conversation to better engage business in relation to some of the plans that the branch is undertaking in relation to waste management. Following that meeting, we had our second workshop, which took place on the 20th of May 2014, that is last year. And in that workshop, the key in relation to what happened during that meeting was generally to identify the formation of task teams that will look at the various aspects of the Waste Act, particularly areas where industries are having challenges in implementing those issues. So various task teams were formed, and then they looked at various aspects of the Waste Act. For example, we have many people complaining about the waste classification regulations, the challenges that they had, and some also complained about the definition of the waste. And we did form task teams that looked into these various themes. The waste classification task team completed its work, and the waste definition task team both completed their work. And then at the third meeting, which took place on the 6th of May 2014, generally that was aimed at providing a feedback in terms of the progress that the task teams have made in relation to the tasks that they were assigned to perform. And also it was decided at this meeting that in order to advance some of the deliberations that took place during the engagements of the task team, we needed to develop an implementation guideline in relation to the Waste Act, that those things that the task teams were unable to resolve will be resolved through the Waste Implementation Guideline. Generally, the guideline gives a perspective of how the department interprets certain aspects of the Waste Act, so that we all sing from the same hymn. Because we understood that some of the challenges that some industry members experienced was not necessarily in terms of the technicalities of some of the aspects that were in the Waste Act, but generally was in relation to how do we interpret some of those aspects. And it was felt that we need to provide a guideline, how we as a department view certain things, so that we all understood what is being intended in relation to the Waste Act. And then we had the 4th and the 5th meetings that took place on the 2nd of October and also on the 13th of February this year. The last meeting in particular, not the last, but the meeting of the 13th of February 2015 was to give industry an idea of the regulatory instruments that the department is going to undertake in this financial year. Like I indicated, that our new approach now is that we need industry to come on board during the planning phase, not when an instrument has been developed that industry would need to come on board, but from the planning phase at an early stage, we'll give you an idea that these are the lists of the regulatory instruments that we're going to undertake. We invite you to participate such that when you see them out there, you already know what these are all about. So that's the approach that we are undertaking. And then one of the other initiatives that we are undertaking, beyond the forums and forum engagements, we felt that we needed to engage companies at a company level, where we visit companies at their operations. The whole idea then is to understand some of the challenges that companies experience at company level in relation to the implementation of the Waste Act. To get an idea, we also do some site visits to have a look at how your operations are all about, and if there are any challenges that we might spot during the site visits. We'll give you advice here and there. And then there is some work that is currently undertaking, so don't be surprised if you get a call from me indicating that we have identified you as one of the people that we're planning to visit. It's not for spying on your operations or challenges, but to create a platform where we can engage with you and understand the challenges that you might be experiencing. It could be you have a waste management license. Some of the conditions that are in the license are prohibiting you actually to implement your waste management, the efficient waste management activities. So we come in there, you raise those issues with us, and we listen, and we advise you on how you could go about amending some of those license conditions. We also create a platform where we're saying, share with us the best good stories that you have. It could be a waste minimization practice or initiative or technology that you might have bought that is doing good on your operations. We also would like you to share with us those information, because like I indicated, that would also help us, when we develop these policy instruments, to have background information, and if you have that information, that could come in handy. And then like I indicated, that we also have trainings that we have, or we are currently undertaking. Some of them we have already undertaken. For example, on the 29th of March, we had the training in the department. This was mainly targeted at small and medium-sized enterprises, where we shared, this scope went beyond the waste management, where we included such things as green economy, green fund, and many other things that we identified that we felt that small and medium-sized enterprises could benefit from. And then currently, as I'm speaking now, there's another training that is taking place in the department. This is aimed at capacitating industry members in relation to the implementation of the Part 8 of the Waste Act. And then the other support that I said I was going to talk about is that we as a section also help the policy people to develop norms and standards. These are some of the standards that we developed: the landfill gas flaring, the scrapping of motor vehicles, and organic waste composting. And also we help people whenever they have an inquiry, they want to speak to someone in the department. You can use us as a gateway. And then future plans, we're planning to have focused and targeted skills development training. These we opening up to have to invite industry players to partner with us to undertake community-based projects such as organic waste composting and many others, and to facilitate access to DEAR programs and other national support schemes. Particularly, you look at funding opportunities for the waste sector. We're planning to enter into that, and into also interdepartmental coordination on SMEs development. And then that brings me to the end of my presentation. And thanks for your attention. Those are my details. Thank you.